Hello and welcome to the Exaltify Me podcast. I'm your host, Nenad Leonart, a musician that has turned to self-development, inner work, and very many different techniques that had helped me live a wonderful life under sometimes even pretty high pressure situations. And I want to now take all that and give it back to anybody else that really needs it. It took me a long while. I had actually my first psychotherapy back when I was 16 years old. I think I even started when I was 15, something like that. My parents were going through a divorce and it kind of hit me hard. But there were also other aspects like minor depression and so on. So actually my first connection to self-development, to psychology, kind of naturally happened at 15, 16 years old. Even before I went into therapy, I was looking into books for very shy people, kind of social anxiety, how to be around other kids and so on. So I always felt like kind of an outcast. I always felt like nobody's understanding me. I always felt like I was speaking a different language and other people just didn't get me, no matter if it was the grown-ups or if it was the kids my age. Just I felt kind of alone in that, and this was an emotion that trickled down through all of my life up until a few years ago, where I had somewhat of an awakening and it started the ball rolling. I started working at my own trauma. I started working at myself, like for real, not just reading books and saying, oh yeah, I know how that works, or, like working mentally, but actually doing the exercises. Like that was a big one for me, to stop learning about what's wrong with me and stop learning what could be the right thing, but to actually go out and just do it. Just fucking do it. By the way, this is going to be an explicit podcast. This is not for kids. This is for grown-ups who are fucking tired of being kids, okay? There's not going to be a lot of swearing, but sometimes I just feel like so, and I just want to underline my point. So we're going to have very many different kinds of emotions here. We're going to have very different looks at life. So just strap in and go along for the ride, I guess. So yeah, I really started doing the work. I kind of felt like this is something happening to me, and I don't want a life to happen at me. I want to be at the cause of doing it. I felt like my life quality was deteriorating, like year after year after year after year. I had a worse life. And at the same time, I was doing music. I was studying music. I was supposed to have this awesome experience to live life to the fullest, but somehow I just couldn't. And success was eluding me. Nothing was just ever good enough. I was never good enough. And that's kind of, I think, one of the moments where it shifted. Where it really shifted for me, where I had this little glimpse into what could be. And this was a simple equation just by understanding that when I feel like my life is not good enough, when I feel like, oh, something's going wrong, something's bad, and I need to improve, be it me or my life or my situation or whatever, to go to the next level, I'm kind of feeling bad inside. And that was the paradox of self-development. Again, like I tried to learn a lot, but I never did the actual thing. And just finding out that if I'm not feeling good enough and I want to do something to go to the place where I can feel good enough, it is by default saying that I'm not good enough to begin with. So no matter what I do, when I got to that point, I never felt good. It never gave me the satisfaction. It never gave me anything that I was looking for. It was just external validation, me kind of trying to grasp onto everything that was out there, and it kind of never worked. Took me a long while to realize, took me a long while to also say, okay, so it's not about the learning, and I guess it's also not about the doing. So what is it then? And that's when I realized it's about the being. It's about being in the present moment. It's about enjoying every moment that we have. And sometimes it's really, really hard. Sometimes it's hard to be ourselves. Sometimes we don't want to. Sometimes we don't want to feel what we're having in our body, like the stuff that's coming up. Sometimes we want to just push it all away. And this is the goal of this podcast, to understand all the different shades of human emotion, all the different things that make us be human, that are kind of shaping our lives, and that it's fucking okay to be whoever you are. That you don't have to transform in order to have a better life, because that better life can start right now if you choose so. There's nothing external that has to happen. There's no goal that will ever make your life complete. Nothing will make anything complete. The only thing that you can change is your relationship to self. And by changing your relationship to self, you change your relationship to the world. My name is Nenad Leonart, and I'm the host of the Exaltify Me podcast. Now, since I survived through all these different changes in my life, since I had these different kinds of developments happening to me, what I did was to go ahead and do a coaching certification. So I did it's called a Transformation Mastery Live Coaching Certification, where I became an instructor for other people to do live events to help them uncover the things that are holding them back through different techniques, and to also learn how to let go of them. Letting go was a big part of my journey as well. And in this podcast, we are going also to look at different techniques, how to let go, what it means, why you even want to do that. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. That's going to come later. And also what I started doing was the IOPT, which is called the Identity-Oriented Psychotrauma Theory and Therapy. Now, this was created by Franz Ruppert, which is a professor for psychology in Germany. I have been reading a couple of his books. Well, actually, I started reading one. And before I read that, I just got this link sent to look at a presentation that he held. Now, back at that time, I was in a very, very bad shape health-wise. I just had like a long COVID experience, which was really, really, really bad. I felt completely destroyed. I felt exhausted. I couldn't do even a fraction of the things that I used to do. I had no fitness. My body was kind of falling apart, and I didn't know where to turn. And I figured out it's not just my body, it's like also connected to my mind and somehow to my being, but I couldn't figure out what was going on there. So we went to this Chinese therapy, like traditional Chinese medicine, and she kind of also sent me the link to this guy, Franz Ruppert. So I listened to it and I was like, I really like what this guy is talking about. This is some awesome stuff. And then I bought a book. I read the book, then I bought a second book, I read that one, and so on. And then I applied to go and do, what's it called? It was just like a course in doing IOPT, so like to learn to become a practitioner. And meanwhile, I have gotten the certificate. So now I'm a licensed IOPT practitioner. And also I'm going to study with Franz Ruppert himself from the next year on. So I'm really looking forward to even amassing more knowledge onto these topics. Now, you probably see and hear, okay, this is going really, really deep. And that's what I found about personal development. As I've told you, like I had to go through many different layers of kind of mental shifts and structures that we have around psychology and then around self-help and so on, to like go deeper, find layers that are actually much more connected to the body. I worked with people who are very spiritual. I've worked with people who are very hands-on and practical. I've done quite a few different things. Some work better, some work less good, but all of them are somewhat complementary. And I think that there's no one solution that fits all. So also this podcast is just going to give you different perspectives. Sometimes even it's going to give you multiple perspectives that maybe even contradict each other. I'm trying to not contradict myself, and sometimes it might seem that I do so. So if something is unclear, do shoot me a message, do ask me directly. Everything that I know, I want to share with you, and I want it to come across very clear, but also that sometimes there are, again, different perspectives that you can take on the same problem. Talking about problems, right? If you have any kind of problem in life, it can be solved just by moving on to the next level. By having a different perspective on that problem, maybe you wouldn't have it. It's kind of like losing your keys, right? And let's say you left your keys on the shelf and you're walking around the apartment trying to find them, and you cannot see them because from your perspective, out of your eyes, you're just not able to see your keys. But if you had the perspective of like a bird, on top of your flat, you will directly see the keys. Oh, they're on the shelf. There they are. And you could grab them. And it's like that with every problem that we have. Kind of moving perspective, shifting to the next place is going to solve a lot of things that you feel like are unsolvable right now. And there may be things that you have been working on for, I don't know, like 10, 20, 30 years. I know I have. I've had the same problems and the same issues, the same stories that kind of reincarnated all of my life. And I was like, what's going on there? Now I know. Now I know what's going on there. It's some deep psychological structures that have been instilled in me because of things that happened to me in my life, in my early childhood, things that kind of imprinted onto me, and I am more or less attracting all the same situations over and over again. What we want to do here is kind of make it all as simple as possible. It's not going to be easy, right? We're not doing things easy. If you want to live a good life, like if you want to live life the easy way, it's going to be the very hard life. But if you live life the hard way, it's going to become very easy. So to have like a really everyday feeling of, oh, this is going swimmingly, this is wonderful, it's going to require some hard work. It's going to require you to do things that normal people usually don't want to do. Things that they're sometimes really hard to look at. And this is why we want to do that here. We really want to focus onto who you are at a core. Like to meet yourself, not try to live your life for somebody else, not try to live up to somebody's expectation, to try to make your parents happy or to try to make your partner happy, or it's about you. It's about who you are deep at the core. It's about what you want out of this life, and it's about helping you to get access to these resources, to strengthen the strong and healthy parts inside of you that are going to carry you and that are going to create an amazing life for you. I know it's possible because I was at a very, very bad point in my life several times, and I never kind of really got out of there until I understood these couple principles. And when I was finally able to get up and to look all this shit directly in the eyes and to face all the stuff that I have been running from for a long time, finally it happened. And I started to become more and more free. Today, my life quality has changed so much from, let's say, 5 years ago that I cannot even describe it to you. I used to have no structure. I used to be smoking, drinking alcohol. I used to be like really compulsively doing stuff like playing video games or going onto social media, doom scrolling, just like not being present, not wanting to live my life. While today, I'm much more connected to myself. I take conscious chunks of time to reconnect, to go into nature. I'm moving much more, like my diet has become much better. I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking. I'm like a really, really, really healthy person now. And it took a few years to go from one place to the other because of some things that have happened to me and that have kind of put me in the right direction. So let this be an inspiration to you. Let this be a place of resource, a place of recluse, a place of where we're also going to discuss different things. So if you feel like you have some questions, if something's not clear, do pop them, send me an email, send me a comment, a DM, whatever it is. I am here for you and I want you to succeed. I want you to have the best life possible, because once that all of us are strong, we are going to have a stronger world. We are going to have a better world. In a couple months, I'm going to do another presentation in the Zurich University that I also did last year, and it's going to be about sustainability. So this is what I want to leave you with. A lot of people are talking about how our world is in a bad place right now, how many wars we have, how many crises, how people are just not getting along, how everything is terrible. And the one thing that I always say is, we can't change that. I cannot snap my fingers and stop a war, but what I can do is I can change myself. And once I start changing myself, I am also going to change the people around me, and you will see this happening. Like once your relationship to yourself changes, it will start changing to other people, and it will inspire them to change their relationship to themselves and to others. And this is how we can move to the next level as a society. It's actually a wonderful place that we have the potential to go to. But it all starts within. It's all starting with ourselves and how we are with ourselves. I'm very excited for all the episodes that are going to come, of all the topics that we're going to cover. This is going to be some intense stuff. It's also sometimes going to be pretty fun. It's also sometimes going to be sad, I guess, or very happy, or very hopeful, or also sometimes a tiny tad depressing or frustrating, depending on where you are at your journey. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm here for you, and we're going to do this together. And I'm really looking forward of having this journey together with you. Having said all that, I'm looking forward to what's about to come. I wish you all the best. Take care of yourself. Take some time just to reflect, to breathe, to be with you, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.